Um, okay, let's see here. And we are recording. So good morning. Today's class, we're going to be talking about marketing boot camp. And a lot of, yesterday or last class we had about 2 weeks ago, we were starting to figure out what everybody's time is worth. And some people were very surprised to realize that they make as much as some accountants, CPAs, attorneys per hour. And now we need to figure out how we can make that more hours than just 1 hour. So it's great when you say that you're worth $400 an hour, $300 an hour, but if you only work 1 hour, that's not the greatest. So now we need to figure out how we can make that every hour that we want to work. So we're going to start off with Marketing Bootcamp today and learn some proven methods of how being diligent and how being very direct will be beneficial to you. And it's not like, throwing something against the wall. It's going to be more proven where it's going to come and flow over time. This is not the only way to do it. It's one way to do it. Okay. So let's keep all of that in mind. It's a very diligent approach. So the overview for this class, which I have written down, is to learn a proven approach for effectively leveraging existing working relationships, meaning current listings, buyers, friends, sellers, all through a win-win attitude. Now, I want to discuss what a win-win attitude is because I learned it through Remax a few years ago, and it truly is one of the best mentalities that you can get behind. What is a true win-win? A win-win is a situation where everybody wins in the deal, okay? Regardless of whether it's an agent, whether it's a buyer, whether it's a seller, whether it's a co-broke, you want everyone to win. If everyone feels like they've won, the deal guides itself, okay? The moment somebody feels taken advantage of, or the moment that they feel like they're getting ripped off a little bit, or they're giving too much, it is no longer a win-win. And then you start dealing with problems as the deal unfolds all the way through closing. So let's paint a real quick picture. If you're trying to get a win-win and you have a seller that says, I want $200,000 for my house, okay? And you have a buyer that says, I'm going to give you $160,000 for the house. The seller does not view that offer as a win-win, okay? The buyer views it as, I'm stealing that house. We're not stealing homes, we're selling homes. We want to create that win-win mentality. A win-win might be the home is not worth 200, maybe it's worth 185, and the seller will be willing to reduce it to 185 and the buyer is willing to get there. That's a win-win. Everybody feels like they've won. It's also not a win-win when they start coming after our commissions. It is no longer to make a deal happen. It is no longer a win-win, okay? We are now losing when they're all winning. It's a win. So keep that in mind. I take that seriously. I don't mind throwing $500 at a deal or whatever every so often, but when they start dipping into my pocket, I don't know a whole lot of professions where you can go to your doctor, your dentist, your CPA and say, you know what, I need you to kick in on my taxes. I need you to kick in on some of this bill. It doesn't happen. Why are they digging into our pockets? Okay? We are paid negotiators. If we're paid negotiators and we're so willing to give up our money, how good are we at negotiating? Keep that in mind, okay? And I've actually said to a buyer or a seller, you're paying me to negotiate on your behalf, and now you want me to negotiate against myself? How in the world can I negotiate for you properly if I'm killing myself right off the bat? It's not a win-win. Keep it a win-win. I know I went off on a tangent there, but I do feel very, very strongly on if everybody wins, the deal will sail right through, okay? Very, very important. So last class we learned how much we're worth an hour. Now we're going to learn how we make that every hour we want to make that. Now, this is not a cheap and this is not an easy system, okay? But once again, if it was cheap and if it was easy, everyone would be doing this. And as a result, no one would be making money, okay? Zillow is easy. Realtor.com is easy. It's not always cheap, but it's easy. And that's why everybody throws some money at it. And they get a couple of leads here and there, and that's all well and good. But there's so many people within Zillow and Realtor.com because it's easy. Everybody goes left. I want to go right almost every time, okay? So please keep this in mind. It's not the only way, but it is a proven way. So what today's class is going to be about is marketing, and it's going to be more about print ads. And I feel very strongly, let me mute, I feel very strongly in print ads because nobody is doing print ads, okay? They haven't done them in years. Now, I remember going to my mailbox a few years ago, and everybody who's anybody is sending out mailers. I know this because we one time when our commission structures were different, our office spent over $60,000 one year on just mailing, okay? And it proved to be very effective. So you'd go to the mailbox and you'd see a stack of them. Okay, you don't see that anymore. Every day or every year, I've seen less and less and less and less. Why? Because it's not cheap and it's not getting to the masses. So what we want to do is, I'm going to pose a question, and it's going to be rhetorical. Nobody's going to answer it because I know what everybody's answer is going to be. If I asked you for $1,500, but I told you that that $1,500 could be worth as much as $13,500 after you've given it to me if you work at it, would you give me the $1,500 for $13,500? Well, of course you would. And if you didn't have it, you'd find a way to get it. You'd go into the couch cushions. You'd go, maybe you could go and talk to a homeless guy about giving you some money. I don't know. You'd find a way to get the money, okay? So they've got coins. I've seen it. So anyhow, the point is you want to be able to invest in your business, okay? Invest in yourself. It is way more beneficial to invest in your business than it is into any stock market. It is into your return on investment goes through the roof. You invest in the stock market, you invest in the bank, you invest even in real estate at this level, you're never going to get a return on that. But when you invest in your own business, you believe in yourself and you will reap the rewards 10 times over, if not more. And we're going to talk about that. So moving right along, I have all my notes. Moving right along, we're going to talk, I'm going to share my screen and show you, and Antonio's passed this around, and it's one of our handouts. It's going to be, here we go. I hope everybody can see this. This is the financial consequences of not doing this. So right now we're going to talk about sending out mailers. And I even have the mailers for you to send out. You just have to address them, stamp them, and send them, okay? So we're going to start off basic. 250, we're in this quadrant right here. 250 prospects, 250 mailers, and you're going to
Jacob, your screen is not showing.
My screen's not showing?
We're seeing your background of the lady jogging on the ocean.
I don't know her. Okay, so here is the, if I do, I'm not going to admit to it. So here we've got the financial consequences of smart farming, okay? So here's where at 50 cents per mailer, and you're going to send out, because remember, you can mass produce mailers, and it's not 50 cents to mail it, it's actually less because you're doing bulk mailing on very small postcards. So on average, at 50 cents a mailer, you send out 3,000 mailers, it's a $1,500 investment. Now, not everybody is going to get excited and going to respond to your mailer. We get it. So we're going to go super, super conservative and say only 1% of the people are going to respond to your mailer. And that means that only 3 people are going to call you as a result of the mailer. Now, our average sales price is $150,000 at 3%. Our average sales price is actually higher at 3%, which means it's $13,500 when you take 150 times 3% times 3 deals, okay? All we've done is invested $1,500 and we were able to potentially make $13,500. It doesn't happen all the time, but we're only talking about 1% response, which is very low. Now, if you take that and you then reinvest 25% of that money, and you see where it goes from here, new prospects, and now you're investing not 3,000, but 6,700 and so on and so forth, you can see how much you're going to be able to make as a result of just doing this process, okay? So I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Everybody has this mailer. And I'm gonna close this door so Artie doesn't keep barking. So this is what happens when you start investing in your business. It grows, and it just grows however much you invest into it. You start small. So now, what exactly are we going to be mailing, and to whom are we going to be mailing? The first thing we're going to do is we need to establish a target market, okay? Remember, this is a deliberate system. This is not throwing things against the wall. It's deliberate. So when you define your target market, the first thing you want to do is calculate the conversion or the turnover rate, okay? The turnover rate is defined by how many properties are in an area, in your geographic area, and how many listings are on the market right now. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. If you have a target market of 500 homes, you're going to be mailing out to 500 homes. Actually, let's start with 250. If you're mailing out to 250 homes, because that was in the first example, and there are currently 15 homes in that geographic area that are on the market, you have a turnover rate of 6%. Okay. Now, if you have 500 homes in your geographic area and there are only 15 homes, you have a 3% turnover rate. Now, why would you want to go towards an area that has a lower turnover rate? The national average has people moving every 7 to 10 years. Okay. If you go and start marketing to a new neighborhood, nobody's going to respond. They just bought the house. They just moved in. It's a waste of money, statistically. You can always get a winner, but mathematically, you do better on people that have been living there 7 to 10 years. So you want to go to you want to define your geographic region based off of the turnover ratio so that you start off on the right foot. It doesn't have to be all of Point Siena. You're not going to mail to 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 homes. You're going to find a few streets, and then you can, through MLS, circle that area and then find your ratio number and then go towards that. Okay, there's a lot of new building going on in Point Siena. You're not going to target those streets. Village 7, you're not going to target a lot of that. Village 8, you're not going to target a lot of that. Go to the people that have been there since 2000, 2005, 2010. Especially right now, people can make a lot of money if they bought after the last recession. So they may have bought it at $60,000, $80,000, $100,000, and the homes are now worth $200,000. Those are the people that you're going to want to target market. Okay, so that's how we define our geographic region. And over time, that area is going to grow because you're going to have more money to reinvest in yourself. So you want to get, Latoria has a question, and honestly, just text me through the system, through the chat. Latoria has a question. You want to go for a high turnover rate, not a low turnover rate. So as the higher the turnover rate, the more people that are unhappy in their current situation, for whatever the reason, and they need to sell, and that's how you get your listings, okay? So you're going to get the higher conversion rate. And once again, the more money you have to invest, maybe this quarter you only have $1,500 to invest in yourself. No problem. Let's make your $13,500. Reinvest 25% of that money. So you take 1,500 plus 25% and you start mailing out to even more. And it just grows and grows and grows. Nobody starts off with a $10,000 a month budget. They don't. If they do, they're foolish. You need to grow to $10,000 a month, whatever it is, you've got to get a starting point and then you grow. If you keep it the same, you're only going to reap 3 transactions. You need to make it grow. So that's about. Any other questions about how you define your geographic target market? Okay, great. So now let's move on. So we've defined that. Now we need to know, what in the heck are we going to send these people? Okay, what we're going to send them, there's several different campaigns. Okay, there's an 8-in-8 postcard system, and we're going to talk about that in a few moments. There is a neighborhood market update postcard, which personally is probably my favorite, and I'm going to show you that one. There's a quarterly farming postcard, and then and then I've already discussed how we need to reinvest. So I'm going to give you 3 different ideas on what to mail and whom to mail to, okay? So let's talk about the 8-in-8 postcards. The 8-in-8 postcards are basically postcards that are designed to shock and awe an area, or not even an area, a prospect, okay? And what do I mean by shock and awe? The shock and awe is we're going to send 1 postcard every 8 days for 8 days to a person, okay? So let's say that we meet somebody over at Publix, okay, or at Walmart or whatever, and we've given them a card, and they've contacted us, and they're kind of like, I'm on the fence, I don't know exactly where I want to go with this, and yada, yada, yada. They need to be shock and awed. If you've been given their information, I would immediately start sending postcards. And here's a few of them, and I have these all written down. I'm happy to share this with you. I also have dialogues that we're going to be going over later on in the class on what exactly to say to people when you get them on the phone, or in person. But one idea of a postcard is, and I'm going to read this to you, okay, because I can't say it better than what they've already written. Postcard number 1: before listing your home with a realtor, it is important to understand there is a definite difference in the way real estate professionals prefer to behave, okay? You want to set yourself apart from the common person, because we're not common, we're better. I choose to behave as a real estate consultant, and as such, will take a consultative and strategic approach to sell your home. In the coming weeks, you will receive an overview of strategies I use not only to differentiate myself, but also to create a win-win relationship with sellers, to be continued, okay? So the first one is designed to get them excited about more coming in, and ideas and tips and tricks. Next one would be, my goal is to focus on your needs. As a real estate consultant, I will not make basic assumptions. Instead, I will ask you questions and then listen to the specific needs you have in the sale of your home. We're trying to let them know that we'll sell the home. Don't worry about the home. We got that covered. We want to know from you, why are we selling that home? What is the need behind it, so that we can address it later on, okay? Remember, I've said this before. If the need behind selling the home is based off of emotion, I want to live near my grandkids, I want to move over to closer to mom and dad, we got to be over towards school, okay? You know they're moving, Okay, because the emotion is going to get them to move. Don't worry about that. You'll get that listing. You need to know the reason why, and that makes you human versus, I'll sell the house. Don't worry about it. I'm going to throw a price on there, and that's the end of it. Get the why behind it, and that's what these are designed to do. I promise you, no other realtor is mailing to clients saying, I want to know more about you. Okay? Next thing. It is unacceptable to leave your money on the table. As a real estate consultant, I will not bring the typical agent's market analysis. Instead, I will provide and interpret a unique set of pricing tools which will reveal the price most conducive to your needs. Okay, your needs. We need to know why. We need to know where you're going, all of that. So I'm not going to read all of them, but there are 7 or 8 of these postcards that we can put together. Okay, the key with postcards, less is more. Okay, the fancy pictures, the beautiful backdrop, like the girl running on my screen, is the backdrop with the beautiful picture of the agent on there, and look at what I've just done, and it's too busy. Okay, nobody's reading that because that's all they're getting. We never made more money in mailings than when it was a yellow postcard. Wilma can tell you, a yellow postcard that basically says, we will sell your land. Something as simple as that. Okay, it's so stupid it works. Nobody wants to read. Okay, get to the point. So I'm going to show you other ways of how to do that when you're doing these postcards. Moving right along. Also tell the truth. Don't like embellish all of these things. You want to be honest with people. Any questions about this 8 and 8 program? It's 8 postcards every 8 days for 8 weeks. Basically, so it's about 8 weeks. 1 postcard every week for 8 weeks. Okay, so there's 8 of them. And I can give you ideas and all of that. Okay, now it sounds like a lot. You're talking about mailing a lot of stuff. Okay, but it has been proven that you can own a market. I did some research on this. You can own a geographic region by 8 touches in 8-week period. You become the household name of that area. It takes 8 touches though in 8 weeks. So if you have the budget and you have the stomach for it and you have the time, and some of you are new agents, you got the time, let's try it. Okay, you don't even have to do it to 200 people. Do it to 5 people. Do it to 10 people. See what the type of results that it brings. But keep in mind, it's the law of numbers. Okay, if you do 1, it's not going to work. You need to get it to a lot of people if you're only going to get a 1% conversion rate. But figure out what that budget is, set it, and do it. Okay, so that's your 8 and 8 program. The next one is what I personally love. Okay, and I'm going to share my screen in a second, and it's called the Neighborhood Market Update. Okay, it's very easy. I've used this analogy before. It's the Craigslist of postcards. Okay, there's no flash in it. Okay, it's just brass tacks. So what you're going to do is, and this is something you should be doing every single month, and that is delivering the monthly recap of the numbers of that particular geographic region. Okay, I know it sounds ridiculous, but people look at that because they always want to know what their home is worth and what did the neighbor get for theirs. So I'm going to share the screen for a moment, and it is in your notes that we passed out to everybody. So this is the Neighborhood Market Update card. Okay, it's this right here. You want to keep it very basic. So let's say that we're going to be selling in Bella Lago. It's an example. It's not, whatever. It's a geographic region. It's a lot of homes, but at least you'll put the subdivision name, Bella Lago, and then you're going to put the month activity. How many homes sold? How many homes are available? What's the average sales price of what's actually sold versus what is the average list price? You want to keep it very basic. For more details or answers to any of your real estate questions, please call and then put your phone number. It can't get more simple than that. It is a very simple MLS data pull, okay? Why is it so basic? Why does it not break it down to bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage? The reason why is because it's too much to read. You want to get these people to call you. If you've given them all the information, they don't need you until it's time to sell. But they don't even know that they want to sell until they talk to you. Okay? So you define your area. Homes sold 5, homes available 10, which means you're turning over the inventory every 2 months. So if their home is on the market 90 days, there's a problem. It should only be on the market less than 60. They're either overpriced or whatever, but it gives people the knowledge of what everybody else is doing in there. Okay? So this is how you can differentiate yourself. No one is mailing to an area. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Do we have, okay, any recommendations for companies to use like adworks.com? How do we get mailing addresses for the people in target areas? Okay, excellent questions from both of you. There are paid services that you can find, or you can go to the tax records. Through MLS, there's a couple of different tax records. There's IMAP tax. There's, I'm drawing a blank on the Real List, whatever it is. And these are systems that will also create and print labels that you just stick right on the postcard. Okay, so you can even draw a map around it and it'll give you the information. You can narrow in based off of equity in homes. You can narrow in based off of how long they've lived there, size of homes, very, very good information. So we can do a class on that as well, on how to pull the data and then how to export it to Excel, which will then print labels for your cards. Okay, so excellent questions, and it'll filter out all of the mumbo jumbo, and you could even put filters to make sure that there's not vacant land in there, even though right now vacant land is hot beyond belief. Okay, so maybe you do want to move sell to that. So very good questions. So this is one of my favorites, the neighborhood market card, and you want to try to do that monthly. The point is that they get to know you. You can throw your face and the balloon on the back side of it and whatever, but one side needs to be bare bones, basic. Get them to see it, okay? Any questions about the neighborhood market card? Great, okay. The other idea is a quarterly farming card, okay? So the quarterly farming card is, it's going to be your third printout that I've passed out for everybody, and I'm going to share the screen. This is when you're not going to do this up front, okay? You're going to do this after you have numbers backing you up. So the 8 and 8 is one that you can do. You can do the monthly farming. That's another one. The quarterly is after you start making money. Okay, why? Because I'm going to share the screen and show you why. And this is where it starts to get really powerful. So your quarterly card is going to be more like this. Why list with Susie Realtor? Why list with Jacob Hera? The results will speak for themselves. So you're going to talk about you, this would be me. You have sold 99% of your listings, because the truth is that we're going to sell whatever we list as long as you haven't taken a ridiculous listing that's so overpriced or so in the toilet in condition, okay? So we're going to sell that in this market. And then we're going to do the average sale price to list price. This is where you can get in trouble if you list a home at 200 that's worth 160. Okay, maybe we will get that offer, but this number is going to drastically hurt you if you start getting into the 90, 80, 70 percentile because you've listed too high and you sold too low. So you want to list at a price that you can actually sell it. And then your average days on market. Well, we just discussed that in Bella Lago, the average days on market are less than 60 days. So that's fantastic. So if you've taken overpriced listings, this number is going to hurt you, and then this number is going to hurt you, your 63, because it's going to be on the market too long. You want to get that number low and that list to sale ratio high, okay? And that's what's going to differentiate you from the average realtor, which is a very easy number also to pull from MLS. Okay, maybe you don't want to be in this category because the average realtor is going to get that $200,000 listing, but they can't sell it. So they're going to get a lot of homes that they're not going to sell, which is why they're 73%. And the sale, the list price for sale price, 200, 160, this number goes down. Days on market goes up. So you look way better when you start having numbers to back up. Now, what constitutes numbers to back up? One listing. Okay, you don't have to have 2, 3, 4, 5 listings. They don't know how many you have. If you've sold your only listing, you have 100% of the listings sold. Okay, and if you sold it for almost full price, 99%, you put that number right there. And if you sold it in 3 days, hallelujah, you've got 3 days on the market. So actually, you can start working as long as you just have one deal within a quarter. Now, it's not acceptable in real estate to sell one house a quarter. That's ridiculous. But that's where you've got to start, and then we'll get you to the next level. And these ways, these ideas are ways to get you to the next level. But use those numbers to help you. Susie's unique approach made all the difference. We tried other realtors, but none compared to Susie. She is the best. This is a review. We can get you a review. I give you a review. It's not a problem. The above results are not by coincidence. They are by design. These words have been vetted. They're in here for a reason. So this is what you could do on a quarterly basis to your farming market once you start getting numbers that can back it up. So they're very good, and they're also very basic. They're not giving a lot of information about actual homes you've sold. It's designed to get them to call you, okay? So that is an idea, and this can be shrunk way down into a 4x6, a 5x8, whatever postcard we want. This was large for demonstration purposes. So do we have any questions about what a quarterly mailing could look like? Okay, good. Keep in mind, you don't have to do all of these. You don't have to do the 8 and 8. You don't have to do the monthly. You don't have to do the quarterly. Hopefully at some point you will, but you have to start somewhere. And these are ideas of where you start, okay? They say Rome wasn't built in a day. That means neither was a business that sells 50 homes a year, okay? It takes time. So we're gonna move along, and we're gonna start talking about dialogues of words that we can say that trigger responses. Okay, so let's talk about that. I've been guilty of this, not often, but I have been guilty of this. I get a phone call. Hey, Jacob, I see you have a listing over in Hickory. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Yeah, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's listed at 150. Okay, great. Thanks. Have a great day. Click. That was a waste, okay? It's an absolute, thank you, Marisol, I appreciate that comment. Look, that is an absolute waste of a call. It's a waste of everything. You don't want to be an order giver. You don't want to be an information giver, okay? You want to be effective. We're spending money getting that phone to ring. When people call you, you better be ready to provide the proper information to get them to the next step. And that's what we're going to talk about now. So, for instance, what is the cheapest form of advertising right now? Does anybody have an idea? Put it in the chat box. What is the cheapest form of, okay, Marisol, go ahead.
Business card.
Business card. Okay. That's one idea. Very good. What's it? Social media, Antonio's. Anybody else have another idea of the cheapest form of advertising? Rose is typing. Carol is thinking. Facebook ads. Latoria, thank you. Word of mouth. Very good. Peter. Okay. Here's the true answer. Your sign. Okay? Your sign. If you don't have a sign, get a sign. We're in real estate. Get a sign, for God's sakes. Let me tell you some stories about some signs. Okay? It's the cheapest form of advertising to the tune of $40. Okay? I understand a business card is cheaper. Okay? I get that, but that's not going to sell the house. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to put a sign on a listing that you already have. And you're going to not only get calls off that sign to buy that house, you're going to get calls from buyers that want to buy that home or other homes. Another way to look at it is, hey, the neighbor, the cousin, the friend, the whatever, also sees that sign every time they go to the house, and they want to call you as their agent potentially. Okay? That sign, if you don't have a real estate sign, I'm sorry, you're not in the real estate business. Okay? It's ridiculous. I've put signs on properties where I've sold both deals, both ends of the deal. Okay? And it turned a $6,000 commission into a $12,000 commission, $12,000 into a $24,000. Okay. I sold a home in 3 hours from my sign. It was a $500,000 house. 3 hours because of my sign and somebody was walking by there. Okay. So $40 sign, 12 extra $1,000 commission. Get a sign. Okay, get a sign. So now what do we do when we get those signs and we start getting those phone calls? We need to start talking about what to do and how to say it. So I'm going to pretend that I'm both the caller and the other and the agent. So a call comes in. This is a typical call. This isn't what you should do. Hello? Yes, I'm calling about your property on 123 Easy Street. What would you like to know? How much are they asking for the home? The list price is $150. How many bedrooms does the house have? The home has 4 bedrooms. Okay, thanks. No problem. Have a great day. Done. Useless. Okay? That is a typical agent. That is a typical agent, and they're only going to get typical results when you get that type of response. What we want to do is to start revealing information and changing it so that we're eliciting other questions. You don't want to get bedroom, bathroom, price, goodbye. You want to get other questions. You want to find the need. You want to find the why behind it. So maybe it should sound something more like this. And I have all of this where I can send it out to everybody after the meeting. Hi, I'm calling about your property on 123 Easy Street. Yes, that is a great property. What would you like to know? How much are they asking for the home? The list price is $150,000. Does that fit your price range? Yes. How many bedrooms does it have? The home has 4 bedrooms. Are you looking for a 4-bedroom home? No, we only need 3 bedrooms. So do you see how that sounds different? You're now asking questions after answering questions. You're asking questions to get that dialogue to come longer, okay? The longer you're on the phone, the bigger the chance you're going to sell that house to them or sell a home to them, okay? Do you need a 4-bedroom? No, I don't really need a 4-bedroom. I need a 3-bedroom, but I do need a loft for an office, or I do need a den or things like that. Great. Well, this home doesn't have that, but I have a whole list of other homes that do. So then you can start talking about time frames. When are you looking to purchase a home? Have you been pre-qualified? The sign got a phone call for that home, which really has nothing to do with anything. Okay. Once you get the why, once you get the reasonings of of the whys and all of that, you're going to win a friend for life, and you're going to be able to turn that into a buyer and a potential seller in the future. You never know. And probably their friends and family will start calling you too. That's happened to me before. Okay. Because you're not 3-bedroom, 150. You're not just getting out the basics that you could probably find on realtor.com or Zillow anyway. Okay. So that's what you want to start talking about it. Always answer a question and then ask a question. And basically you're going to go until either one of you are dead or they hang up. Okay. So you just keep going. Okay. Until you figure out where it is. The next step you're going to need to do is you're going to need to define what category this buyer is in. Remember, these are calls off of the signs or postcards. It doesn't matter, okay? There are 3 different types of buyers. You have an A buyer, a B buyer, and a C buyer. Okay, there are 3 different ones. An A buyer deserves your immediate attention, okay? You're sitting on a spring, and you're going to jump up and you're going to help them, because that is the most important thing you could be doing at this particular time. They're ready to buy now, okay? They've been pre-qualified and all of that. A B buyer is a buyer that is shopping around, may or may not be pre-qualified, we don't know, but is probably looking to, do something in the next 30 days. That deserves some attention, but if I've got an A buyer on the phone, B buyer is going to get hey, I'm in a meeting right now. Can I call you later on today and set something and figure this out? Then you have a C buyer. A C buyer is someone that you're going to put on a drip campaign. The C buyer is a perfect person for your 8 in 8 postcards. You're going to shock and awe them because they have no allegiance to you whatsoever. They're calling they're calling agents off of every sign that they see, but none of those agents are going to respond the way that you're going to respond. All of those agents are going to be it's a 3-bedroom, 150, thanks, goodbye. You're going to be the person that's going to give them that 8 postcards over 8 weeks. And by then, they should be either A, ready to buy or sell, or B, know your name so that when it's time, they're going to call you. Okay? That's how you're going to define your A, B, and C, and how you're going to time block, like what we discussed at the last meeting on how to act on it. Okay? So that's how you go A, B, and C, and your time blocking and how you deal with it. Don't give an A buyer the 8 in 8 postcards. We don't have time to do that. They're already ready to buy, okay? After somebody says yes, what's the next thing you're supposed to do? Somebody tell me. If someone says yes, I'm ready to buy, what are you supposed to do next? I'm going to tell you because we're getting nowhere fast here. Okay? You shut up. Okay? Stop selling. Stop selling. You have now moved into, okay, let's go under contract. All right? Stop selling. The first person that talks loses in this thing. Okay? So that's your A buyer. So go A, B, and C as those phone calls come in. But keep answering questions keep answering questions and then asking questions. You will build a friend for life, or at least a client for life. Okay, moving right along. Let's have a conversation. Let's do some dialogue on when a phone call comes in that's not basically how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what's the price, okay? A dialogue could be, are you currently in the home for a market? Are you currently in the home to buy a market? Are you currently in the market to buy a home? Okay, this is trying to decide if it's an A, B, or C buyer. Are you current? The caller says yes. Great. How are you finding your perfect home? Okay, how are you finding your perfect home? Nobody says that. Everybody says, well, what have you seen? Okay, we want to make it personal. Home is personal. House is not personal. Okay. How are you finding your perfect home? Okay. If the answer implies that they are not being intentional, which most people aren't, they're just calling random people, you would want to respond with, how would you like to use a proactive process that will ensure you get the home you want and want the home you get? Okay. A lot of people will go shopping and they'll see a home and their eyes go like that. Has anybody here, and you don't have to raise your hand because I know who has, been to an all you can eat buffet? Okay. I know I have. Okay. My eyes are bigger than my mouth. Well, not my mouth, but my stomach for sure. Okay. And you load your plate up like this high and all of that. Okay. Your eyes are crazy. People walk into homes and they get so excited. Maybe it's they like the curb appeal. Maybe it was they had a fascination with the front doorknob. I don't know, but they love that home. Okay. But guess what? It's really not their perfect home. And we know that. And we show them others, and then they love that home. The point is you want to show them the home that they want and will want in the future, not what they want right now. Okay. So they want the home, they get the home they want, and they want the home they get. Okay. So you want to do that. You want to show them that proactive process. A person's going to say, well, what is that going to entail? You know, what are you talking about? What am I getting myself into? And you start with, it would begin with us getting together for about an hour or so I can uncover exactly what you need in your next home, define your financial comfort zone, and thoroughly discuss the roles and expectations we have for one another for a successful working relationship. It's getting back to your win-win. It's got to be a win-win for everybody. I'm not working for free, and they're not buying a home they can't afford. Okay. This is going to establish your budget is $200,000. I am not showing you a $300,000 home. It won't fit. Okay. And then they're going to be upset with the home that they wind up with that they could afford at $200,000 because you've shown them a $300,000 home. Okay. So this is that proactive approach. Then you have to be a little bit forceful. Not a lot, but a little bit. Does that approach sound like you could benefit from it? And if they say yes, you say, you set the appointment. How is today at 2:00? You don't say, well, what time is good for you? No time is good for them. Okay. You say, how is 2:00? 2:00 doesn't work for you? No problem. I have availability at 2 or at 4. Which one works for you? Okay. You're pushing them into making a decision, okay? But you're also letting them know that you're a busy person with other clients. They don't want to be your only client. They want to know that they're going to a person that's busy doing real estate. So whether you've got nothing to do all day, you make something up and you give them 2 options, okay? If they can't make, and if the response is, well, I just can't make it today, say, no problem. Let me check what my schedule looks like tomorrow. Oh, great news. I've got an 11 opening tomorrow. I can move something around. Okay. You want to tie them down into a time. You don't give them, I'm available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You got nothing going on. It looks pathetic. Okay. So keep that in mind when you're speaking to people. You definitely write all that down. You definitely get that out to everybody. Some people are going to say, look, I'm not interested in your proactive approach. Okay, I was just calling to get information. And guess what? That's okay too. You're not going to sell everything that people call. Not everybody's going to be that buyer or that seller. You have to keep in mind that sometimes no is acceptable. Okay, now it's not acceptable for you not to make a living. Okay, but it is unacceptable for you to waste time on people that are never going to buy or sell with you. Okay. If they're running you around on the weekends like a rag doll, like a chauffeur where you need to be wearing a hat and driving them around because they've got nothing better to do on a weekend than go look for homes, that's a no on your end. You tell them no. I'm sorry, this is my profession. I can't be doing it this way. You know, you've got to make that time for the A buyer, okay? That type of thing. people that are proactively purchasing a home. So don't step over dollars to pick up dimes. Don't keep showing people that aren't going to buy or that aren't going to sell. You could put them on a drip campaign through Booge or through MLS they'll get them once a month or whatever, but you don't need to be spending money on them until it gets close, until they become from a C to a B or a B to an A, okay? So moving right along. Don't always take no though. On the other hand, a no might be no, not right now. So here's some dialogue that can leave it open-ended for you to still contact them and get back. So are you currently in the market for a new home? No. So what initiated your call today? Why did you call me? You know, if you're calling off the sign, I was just curious. Do you currently own a home? Yes. Have you ever thought about selling it? No. Do you know anyone who is interested in buying or selling? Maybe they have a friend or a family member that wants to live nearby. Maybe they know somebody in trouble. You have to ask. All they could say is no. This is a business of rejection. You've got to be okay with getting the word no. Okay. So you just keep going. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you. If I can ever be of service to you or anyone you know, please don't hesitate to call. And you're just polite and you just hang up. Okay. So we're moving right along on, those are some dialogues, and I have some others that I can share with you. And I'd like to actually print some of these out and get them to you because you can use them and you can tweak them a lot. But some of the wording you don't want to tweak because it's very, very good. Okay, let's now move along, and we're going to go to we're going to skip over the financial consequences, which was slide 4, because I kind of hit on that about making sure that you set your appointments on your phone calls. The more, clearly the more listings you have and sign calls that come off of it, the more conversations you're going to have. The more conversations you're going to have, the more you're going to get, the more deals you're going to get out of them. Okay, so just make sure that every phone call is a potential deal, at least one deal. Okay, so you're going to want to treat it that way. Moving right along to direct marketing, going back to postcards. Okay, I'm going to share the screen, and these are other postcards that are designed that you can mail out. They don't necessarily have to be every month or every quarter or whatever. It's when you have time. But here are some additional ideas of how you can use postcards to your benefit. So I'm sharing my screen, and you pick which ones that which one benefits, is more towards your model. First-time home buyers. Some people love working with first-time home buyers. Why? Because they get a great sense that they're helping maybe a new family or whomever buy their first home and start a life and a family and blah, 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 blah. So this is an excellent postcard to send out, okay? It's very basic. First-time home buyer, why rent when you can own? Free list of homes that are available for under $1,200 a month. Call now, okay? Now, we can't say how much things are going to cost. We're not licensed mortgage brokers or lenders, but you can say right now, and this number is wrong. Even in Point Siena, it's over $1,200, $1,400. But if you get a lender to say, hey, I've got a home for $200,000. What would a monthly price? What would a monthly PITI, principal, taxes, interest, payment look like on a $200,000 home in today's society with 3.5% down, which is what first-time home buyers are and they're going to give you a rough number. So, why would you rent for $1,500 when you can own for $900? That's an excellent postcard. Call now. Put your information on the back. This should be one side. On the back should be branded. Homes under $150,000. That's a great one, but maybe that doesn't fit our area. Maybe that doesn't get people excited. Maybe we can find homes that are under 125. Maybe it's whatever the market is, find homes under this amount of money. You could be getting an investor that would like to call and buy multiple homes. You could get somebody that wants to buy fix and flips, whatever. First time home seller. Keep in mind, everybody hears about first-time home buyer. We do have first-time home sellers. Well, we can give them a free market analysis. People love the word free. And we can give them 100 ways to sell your home fast for more money. And we can come up with what that is. I think I have some stuff about that, but we can give them ways and ideas and everything, but you're never going to want to give them everything because we don't want them to sell it on their own. We want them to come back to us. So you give them ideas, nuggets. Remember, it's only supposed to get a phone call to start the conversation where you get into the dialogue that we've discussed. Fixer-upper, bargains and low prices. These homes need work. Every neighborhood has them, okay? These are hot button pressure points for people. People love these types of things, and you will always find a buyer that is going to be interested in these types of postcards. Very basic, very effective, okay? These are just ideas. Okay, any questions about any of these types of postcards that can be mailed? Don't get fancy with them. Be basic. Okay, moving right along from there. Over there, now we're going to talk about just listed, just sold campaigns. People need to know that you're successful. How are they going to know you're successful is because you start getting numbers, okay? You start getting a listing, people need to know that it exists. You sold a property, people in the area immediately around it need to know it exists, okay? People don't know these things unless you tell them. So I'm not gonna share the screen right now about the numbers behind it, but basically for every listing, you should be getting at least 20 phone calls, okay? So that's 20 conversations that you should be having. Even if you get a small fraction of that, you should be able to get a deal out of it. One listing should bring at least another deal, hopefully, another buyer, okay? So how do we do that? What we're going to do is we have some dialogues on just listed and just sold, and we're going to act them out right now so that everybody can hear the words that are needed for it, okay? Hi, my name is Jacob. I'm with RE/MAX Pioneer. I just listed the Smiths home on 123 Easy Street. As an extra service to the Smiths, I am visiting their closest neighbors to see if anyone who might know of anyone who is interested in buying a home. Well, we don't know anybody interested in buying a home. Okay, no problem. Well, here's my card if that should change. If you happen to run across someone who would like to live in the neighborhood, please let me know. Thanks, have a great day. Now, as you're leaving, you do the Columbo moment. I don't know if any of you know the show Columbo. My dad does, okay? He acts like an idiot. He's no idiot. Oh, by the way, just one more thing. I forgot to tell you. I listed the home for $350. Okay? You got to wait for that door to almost shut. Okay? Oh, by the way. That's going to stick out in their mind. If you start off with it, it's not going to stick out in their mind. Why is that so important? Because as you're leaving, their mind is starting to think, they're going to get $350 for that piece of garbage? Or, wow, I didn't know that home was worth $350. I got to go take a look at that thing. No matter how you look at it, it's a win. If it's too low, maybe they want to buy it as an investment. Maybe they want their relative to move in. Who knows? If it's too high, they're thinking, I could get that much for my house? Either way, it's fantastic. If you start with the number, you've diluted it with the rest of the conversation. Okay? You end with the oh, by the way. And I'm going to show you other ways to do it. That's for door knocks, which unfortunately right now I wouldn't recommend because of COVID. But when it's time to start door knocking, I went outside this morning. It was like 70 degrees. It was fantastic. I loved it. I didn't knock on any doors, but it was beautiful. As the weather changes, it might be time to start door knocking, okay? Then what we can do is we can make phone calls to the area. Remember, these are all surrounding this particular property within your geographic region. We can start making phone calls. Hi, my name's Jacob with RE/MAX Pioneer. I'm calling to let you know I had just listed the Smiths home at 123 Easy Street. As an extra service, to the Smiths, I am calling the neighbors to see if there's anyone that they might know who might be interested in buying this home or in this neighborhood. No one? No problem. Again, my name's Jacob from Remax, and if you happen to run across anybody that you would like to have as a neighbor or as a close by, just let them, please pass along my information. Oh, by the way, I've listed the Smiths home for $350. Okay, that's a phone call conversation, not the door knocking one. Okay, now it's harder to get phone numbers, but phone numbers can come from paid services that where the lists have been scrubbed for do not call registries. Okay, they're not that expensive and you can get them. Okay, so that's for just listed and just sold. And you'll do the same exact thing for just solds, except for it's the same wording, but except for I've listed the home, it's I just sold the Smiths home for $350. Okay, everything else is exactly the same. Okay. David Scott, the writer of the program Momentum, says that, oh, by the way, is the phrase that pays. Don't underestimate that at all. Okay, make sure you put that in anything that you could possibly fit it into, because it's important to them, but it also makes you sound like it's not that important to you, that every deal matters to you. Oh, by the way, I listed it for $350. Okay, that the price is the last thing you're worrying about, but it's the most important thing they're worrying about. That's why you end it for you and you start it for them. Okay, you go out on an end for your speech, but it's the start of the first thing that they're going to remember when you close that door or you hang up. Okay, these are ideas of how to speak to people, of how to mail to people. For direct marketing, there are a bunch of others. There are paid services that you could just send your database to and they can do the mailings for you. They're more expensive than you doing it yourself. There's nothing wrong with it, but I find that they actually put too many bells and whistles on those postcards when you want to make them really, really basic. You can go on your Remax Design Center and they can design it for you for free. And all you have to do is send the PDF to a printer and you can print out the postcards and drop some labels and a stamp and get them out. There are a lot of different ways that you can do these types of postcards. Once again, it's not the cheapest, but it might just be the most effective. Okay. Now, I also don't know if anybody's been seeing the news lately, but Zillow has decided to get into the brokerage business. Okay. They are hiring agents in selected markets. If anybody didn't see this coming, they're not paying attention. We saw this coming years ago. And if they're successful, they're going to be a force to reckon with. So I might be moving some of my advertising dollars for all of us away from Zillow because I don't feel like feeding their mouths. And I would just reinvest it in Realtor.com and some other things. So, things change over time, but sometimes you have to get back to the basics. And there's nothing more basic than direct mail. Okay? So it's not going to work if you send out one postcard. It's repetitious. The more you do it, the more that's going to come back. Sometimes you'll get 3 phone calls. Sometimes you'll get 0 phone calls. Sometimes you'll get 6 phone calls. Okay? You don't know what that return is going to be until you try it, and you try it on a consistent basis. I'm going to go to some questions right now. If you have questions, please type it into the chat box or whatever. I'll see if I can answer them. I have for every, Rose wrote, for every question, ask a question, makes sense. This interview it's an interview for a potential customer. Exactly, because you want to make sure that they're a good fit for you. It doesn't have to be just because they have a pulse and a couple of bucks, it's a good fit for you either. It has to be both ways. Otherwise, you're going to work for a bunch of mongers. Then I've got, how can I find out how many homes are in a market area? So Latoria, what you're going to do is you're going to go to MLS and you're going to go to the map section and you're going to draw a circle or a polygram or whatever it is around an area. You're going to want to zoom way in because remember, a map is going to show a lot of streets and it's going to be thousands of properties. You're going to zoom way in and start narrowing down on that specific geographic region. And you can uncheck on active, pending, sold, all of that, uncheck all of those in the description field, and it'll show you since the beginning of time the numbers that happened in that specific area. Happy to show you. Antonios is happy to show you. It's really, it's very simple once you know how to do it. And then you can use that information over through the tax records. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns? Dad has something. What do you have, Dad? You got to unmute, Dad.
I sent you a text about one of your original charts. The math may be better than you think.
Okay, Jacob, 1 out of 3,000 mailers is an even
1%.
Okay, out of 3,000 mailers. But keep in mind, thank you. Keep in mind that you're not, that the first one wasn't right. That was out of 3,000 mailers. 1% is 30. Why did? Because you're not going to convert all 30 of people that call in. That's the reason why. So they've dumbed it down even further. So if you mail out 30 and you get a 1% return, that's 30, but maybe you're only converting 25% of that. Okay. Now, as you get better, you're going to be working smarter and not harder. As you get these dialogues down, you're going to come across way more confident and proficient and as an expert, and people are going to buy it much quicker. So those numbers will change. And that's why you saw on those calculators that your conversion rates go from 1% to 1.25% to 1.5% and everything as you go to the right of those things. So check those conversion rates. They increase as you get better. So thank you. Okay. All right. Well, that's the class I have for today. I don't have the calendar. I know we have another one coming up early October. We're going to be sending out invites for all of it, and hopefully we'll find it beneficial. Thank you all. Call, text, email, whatever. I'm available.